that you can use something like JavaScript in VR chat, and if that's possible, there's got to be an easy way to like incorporate, work that into some type of interface.
Good idea to protect myself against the 0.001% chance of dying from it.
Wait, I'm gonna die.
We were supposed to.
Yeah.
I just haven't tried to try.
Did you ever get it?
Are you guys starting in like a couple minutes?
You jump over to
Never
the
had COVID.
and scan.
Yeah, I might.
I don't know, but it's got it.
It was awesome.
It's coming.
It was a little bit.
I
I
agree. If you find out, let us know.
Oh, it's so loud with everyone talking.
I know a lot of
It's gonna be really cool.
Cool, yeah, if it doesn't exist, I want to help create it, because that's my favorite thing.
I went to Bermuda and I had to have a test every 2 days when I was there. So I've had loads of tests.
I actually, I use AnyPay.
We got
I don't know if we're allowed to leave
Multi-coin, and it's what a lot of the businesses in my town use.
I think not for a holiday, on a business trip.
Yeah,
Okay,
you are allowed.
starting.
Yeah,
And if you really want to go.
So I'm gonna
Yeah, I mean, you need to
sorry,
stay.
I'm gonna do that.
I don't think you said anything.
It's so quiet. Why isn't anyone saying anything? I don't understand. I need a theme song. Like a nice band, and then we go on stage, and everyone's booing probably and throwing tomatoes or whatever. But yeah, next time. So, welcome everyone. Let's see, do you have your... Yeah, you do. Okay, great. So, I'm Udi Wertheimer, just in case you can't recognize me, and this is Reckless VR. It's great to see everyone. If this is the first time you're watching these, then you should know that we do those every weekend, and you can sign up on recklessvr.com or search recklessvr on Telegram or on Twitter and subscribe, and you'll get invites every weekend. We have great events. You do not need a VR headset to join. So if you're watching this on video right now, you should know that you do not need a VR headset. You can use your PC and join us with your pleb monitor, and it's fine. It's good enough. So today we're hosting Ketominer from Nodl. So hi.
Hi.
Thank you for joining. This is what it looks like right there behind me. I like the hair. Pretty good.
Yeah, I tried to do something pretty close with the avatar, but
It's close. It's close. No, I really like the hair. I hope you do this in normal events too.
yeah, actually it's not because of the
Go to a
strap, it's
wedding
my
like
real
that.
hair.
You've been doing VR for a while, right? You're not.
I bought the Quest when Reckless VR started, but I'm probably connected twice.
Well, shame on you. This is what I think about your negligence to join us. Well, twice is more than nothing, I guess. So it's now the third time.
Yeah, and with a
You
new
play Beat
headset in
Saber?
addition. So. Of course.
Okay, that's good.
I
know
have
that some
wall
people
paint on my
would like to hear
controllers. So
That's good. So other than VR, you're also, you're from Nodl. Nodl is kind of a supplier of, I guess, Bitcoin node software and hardware and services. Maybe tell us a bit about Nodl.
yeah, so Nodl started as a provider of Bitcoin full nodes in a box. Basically, I made a full node for myself, and after playing with it for a year, I thought, why not make it into a commercial product? And we decided to pre-sell 21 units, which took a very long time. And then it started going faster, and we decided to make another box, which is the current Nodl One and the Nodl Dojo. And just recently we launched Nodl Cloud, which is exactly the same software but running on servers we own.
Congrats. I don't know. I like clouds. I think clouds are nice. So let's start from the beginning. Who do you think should run Bitcoin nodes? Is this like for normal Bitcoin holders, or who is this for? I mean, I know what I think, but I'm a journalist. I'm not supposed to have an opinion. So I'll let you answer.
I would say it depends. If you have 8 years old Bitcoin and never touching them, you probably don't need a full node. But if you are doing anything on a daily or monthly basis with your Bitcoin, you probably should have a full node just to verify that your coins are matching your consensus rules and that the monetary supply is what you're told it is.
Right. But let's say I'm a new Bitcoiner. And I'm buying my first sats, and let's say I'm doing dollar cost averaging and I'm buying some small amount every month. And I'm just a beginner, right? Do you think that this kind of population should look into nodes, or is it going to confuse them, or why?
Well, hopefully we are getting easier and easier UI to use for like normal users. Actually, many of our very first customers were people who were new into Bitcoin and wanted to start selling services for Bitcoin. It was also the beginning of Lightning, so it was like a nice period of time to start. And it's people who were actually learning. They were like average to low skilled computer users, and they learned Bitcoin with Nodl. So I don't think being like a beginner user and just starting in the space is a blocking point to buy a full node and use a full node. And if you can get the good habits of running all the services yourself with some degree of understanding how they work, if you want to dig deeper, you can always. Better do it from the first day and not wait.
So what kind of services can you run with the Nodl? Like, what's other than the Bitcoin full node itself? What else?
So you get the Bitcoin full node, you get everything around like wallet backends, Electron server and Dojo server for Samurai wallet. Hopefully other will come. Currently we support Spectre desktop if you install it on your computer fully, including the server side. But soon you will be able to have the server side on the Nodl directly and connect from your Spectre desktop client. You get a Lightning node, which is currently LND, but we are thinking to add C Lightning at some point. You get BTC Pay server, which we provide on the box more for like physical businesses who will use it on a local network. Like all the tools around that, a block explorer, a Lightning, LND graphical front end, which is Ride the Lightning currently, and all the services that run around this.
And do you have, I don't know if you have like tracking on this stuff, or maybe users are...
your sound just got bad.
Of course you did. Okay. So I'll be right back. I'll be back in a moment. It happens. Thanks.
High tech.
Rookie.
You have to be reckless there.
I could disappear.
Now he unmuted.
Respawning.
Yeah.
Kind of reckless disappear in the middle of your own show.
He's back.
Yeah.
Oh, look who's back.
Look, he's back.
Unfortunately, I'm back.
Yeah.
Grand entrance.
Okay.
Free entrance.
You can stop your bad jokes in the audience. Okay, so back to what was it? So I don't know if you have like tracking on what users do, or just maybe input and feedback from some of the users. Do you know like what are the things that they use, like which integrations they use?
Absolutely no tracking whatsoever of the users. We try to leave as few traces on any server as possible. Actually, the only trace we have from the users on our servers is when they download updates, it makes a Git pull on our server, but we will remove that and use torrent instead. So we will have absolutely no way of knowing how many users we have and what they are doing. The main way we know what users are doing are meeting them at conferences when they can happen, and also we have a pretty active Telegram group, and now we also have a group on Sphinx chat, and we are talking a lot with our users and like casually asking them like what it is you're doing with this node. Because like we started like, yeah, okay, we have Bitcoin, Lightning, BTC Pay, people will be accepting payments, but actually they wanted to run wallet backends and mixing. So yeah, users change like periodically.
So basically you're saying it's all over the place. Some mixing, some, and can you, if you're running a Lightning node, I guess you can connect a remote wallet to that too, right?
Yeah, you can connect Zap to or any other compatible wallet. Fully Noded, I think, supports Lightning now too. They all use like the same standard QR code connection. So
yeah. So what are you using it for?
And you can do all of that over Tor if you want as well.
Oh, that's good. Tor is good. I'm a fan. So what are you using it for? What are you doing with your Nodl? Or is it a secret? You don't have to say.
No. I'm trying to use like as much components as possible. So I'm using the Lightning wallet on my Nodl with Zap. I'm using the Wheelpo mixer. I'm mixing all the coins I receive on my personal Nodl. And then, I have my BTC Pay exposed as well on the internet through a reverse proxy. So it's a service we'll be launching soon, actually, to allow users expose the BTC Pay of their Nodl on the internet without disclosing their home IP address. What Raspberry Blitz is doing with IP to Tor, but we are doing it over UDP VPN, which is more stable and faster.
Oh, nice. So you get a reverse proxy, so you don't have to reveal like your location.
Yeah, as I like to say, so it points to our IP addresses, like our servers' IP addresses. What I say is we do QIC on our IP, so you don't have to.
Right. But then technically, I mean, they have to trust you, right? Because you could replace the content with whatever.
Well, yeah, obviously, as soon as you act as a proxy in the middle, you can become a man in the middle for the connection.
Yeah. Yeah, not really a way around that. Well, I don't know. Couldn't you do... I'm just thinking out loud now. But I guess you could, couldn't you have like the box host the actual thing and including signing with the TLS certificate and just use Tor's?
Yes, yeah, there are two ways to do that. You can terminate the TCP on the reverse proxy or the HTTP. For now, we are terminating HTTP just because of performance questions, but yeah, you could obviously terminate only TCP, and then the TLS session is established between the user and the box and not the user and our servers. But I mean, still, since the domain name points to our IP address, we could generate a valid certificate for the same domain name on our server.
Right, yeah. Okay, gotcha. No, that's cool. That's cool. So you can kind of have your BTC Pay storefront accessible to everyone without exposing like your details. That's pretty cool. So here's the thing, but it does bring up the issue of trust. And I mean, I guess with trust, like when you're gonna tell someone that they should use a full node, usually it's a question of trust, and you're going to say, well, you don't want to trust anyone, so you should run your own full node. But then if they're buying the node from you, the hardware and the software, and I mean, Nodl gets to update the software probably too. So they do have to trust you in a way, right? I mean, no way around it.
Well, they can just SSH in and check the code running on the device. That's the main thing. It's we don't do anything fancy. It's like all human readable code. There is not like compiled blobs in it. All the packages like Bitcoin DLND are installed from the official files, so you can verify the signatures of the people who signed the packages. Yeah, so the trust is pretty minimal actually. One thing we didn't do in the beginning is to preload the blockchain on the box. So when the users were receiving them, they had to wait for several days sometimes before using. Now we pre-sync them and we just turn them off before shipping, so they are like almost synced when they arrive. We had the discussion with other vendors of full nodes, and everybody basically agreed that it's not a big deal, because as long as you run the correct code for Bitcoin Core, you can guarantee that the new blocks you get are the correct ones. And if you're really paranoid, you can still wipe it and re-download everything yourself.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I mean, I could come up with intricate attacks against it. I just don't think it's realistic that anyone would try them right now. It's a question of, how much value you try to kind of defend with that node, right? Like if you would buy a Nodl box or a similar box and use it as the backend for a $1 billion exchange, then maybe someone is going to try to attack you, right? And,
yeah,
and they'll make like fake blocks just for you and whatever.
Yeah, and anyway, if you are $1 million exchange, we would probably not sell you this kind of box. We would rather sell you a big server and come to install it at your place and verify with you everything we are doing.
Right. And do you, by the way, have any solution for like bigger like exchanges or any sort of enterprise style businesses?
Yeah, we are ready for that. We didn't get any requests yet. We almost provided one to some, let's call it small exchange, but because of the European law, they had to close, so we couldn't finalize that deal. But yeah, we are ready for big exchanges. We are ready for big retailers. We can like build a huge box with 4 servers inside, all redundant, and come to install it in your facility if you want to have it on premise, and so on.
Right. Gotcha. Yeah, exchanges are interesting. I don't know, in my experience, most exchanges I can think of are obviously running their own Bitcoin nodes already. A lot of them don't necessarily run altcoin nodes. Like, depends on which coin, but a lot of them like just use some API for some of the coins, which is, I don't know, an interesting tidbit. But obviously you guys are not going to start doing altcoin nodes, right?
No, we won't.
Not
we
on the roadmap right now.
almost included Litecoin at some point, just to be able to demonstrate atomic swaps on Lightning. But yeah, we decided to kill that project.
You decided to make the right choice.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, because look, if you wanted to do an Ethereum node, then you could sell much more expensive hardware. That's like the benefit there.
Yeah, but I mean, the margin would probably still be the same. It's not like just the hardware itself is more expensive, but there is no added value on doing that.
Maybe, I don't know. Ethereum people are not very good with math, so you could. I don't know. I'm just saying things. I'm just bad. I'll go on. So look, let's say you have whoop, what happened there? Let's say you have a few options for running your own node. You have Nodl, and you have, I know there are a few others. There's Umbrel and MyNode, Raspberry Bleeds, and a few other. You could build your own. So how does Nodl compared to these other options?
They're all pretty different, actually. If you look at something like Raspberry Blitz, there's still a lot like not command line, but it's like text-based UI involved. I think they are working on some graphical UI now. I don't know if it's an app or a website, but anyway. Yeah, it's probably one of the best, to be honest, implementations, because the people behind are very careful about what they are doing. I don't know the others enough to judge. I know on my node, for example, there are services we refused to implement, like mempool.space, because if you want the full mempool.space functionality, you need either to run Explorer locally, which is huge, or you have to use Blockstream API. And we decided that any service calling an external API shouldn't be embedded in our box. Yeah, and Umbra is pretty new in the space. I don't know yet where they are going. It's a very nice UI, even if there are some very basic young UI mistakes in it. But yeah, I think maybe from like basic user perspective, Umbra is the nicest if you build it yourself and have the skills to install it. Yeah, our main competitor was Casa at some point, but they decided to stop doing that. And the Beatbox base, which was a very nice project, also stopped. So
yeah, that's true. Do you know why Casa stopped? It was kind of sad. I think they just released the second version and immediately stopped, right?
Yeah, I don't know why they stopped. I think I know why they started. They had like this multi-sig stuff, and they seen the home node market appearing, and there was an opportunity to do something and take some percentage of the market. And then they turned it into a Lightning node, because actually the box was not participating in the multi-sig setup at all. Yeah, and like this product was quite irrelevant in what their core business is. It was a nice addition to the portfolio, but it didn't actually bring any value for the multi-sig setup.
Yeah, maybe it was a bit early to kind of integrate into the rest of the stuff. Maybe one
day. And some people believe on putting a hot wallet on a home node. I'm not a very big fan of that, even if, as far as I know, we are the only ones who have disk encryption, and you actually have to provide the key every time you turn on the device. But yeah, still not a big fan on running the hot wallet on a physically accessible device.
Yeah, so then like the other alternative will be to, I guess, have a wallet that just tracks addresses on the node but keeps the keys somewhere else.
Yeah, for example, that, and one thing we are working on is integrating CK Bunker, which is the HSM mode for the cold card. So actually the keys will be held by the cold card connected to the node, and anything you throw at the CK Bunker service will be automatically signed according to the preset rules that you put into your cold card HSM. And you can actually, there is enough space in the box to put the cold card in the box itself. So if someone reaches to your box and tries to open it, you benefit from the kill switch of the node, which will disconnect the power for the cold card, and it will lock it.
When is that going to be ready? Sounds cool.
Hopefully Q1 next year.
2 weeks. 2 weeks.
Yeah, almost.
2 weeks. We can say 2 weeks. Close. It's okay. We can say 2 weeks about everything. It's fine. Why not? It's close enough. So, you know what? Maybe can you like expand a little bit on what, like, in a setup where a user uses? Again, I know the answer, but I'm a journalist. I don't want to have an opinion. But let's say that you have your node and you have your wallet that connects to the node. Like, what exactly does the node do in the setup? What's the node's role?
It really depends on the wallet you will be using, actually, because they have very different models as far as how they use the full node. For example, if you use something like Electron, it will be Electron and any like hardware wallet compatible with Electron, it will just be querying for addresses on your node, and it leaves almost no trace on the node itself. If you use something like Spectre actually uses the watch-only wallet of Bitcoin Core, so it creates wallet files on your full node, and the full node is the place where the addresses are scanned. If you use Samurai Wallet with Dojo, it's a little hybrid between the two, because the Dojo server is like tracking your XPubs, but at the same time the wallet is requesting for some precise addresses every time you open it. So yeah, it really depends which wallet and which type of implementation you're using. I would say like currently there are 3 concurrent implementations of wallet backends, which is using just Bitcoin Core through RPC, using an Electron server, whichever it is, or using Dojo server. And by the way, EPS, Electron Personal Server, is actually based on the same model as Spectre and uses Bitcoin Core's wallet to scan addresses. So yeah, we are actually in the process of implementing something for our internal accounting, like a web soft program in which we enter all our XPubs and it will be tracking all our transactions, just for basic accounting purposes. And we have an internal debate on which type of backend we should be using, and probably end up with Bitcoin Core because that's the most simple one. Like, you always have it. Whatever node you're using, you always have it.
Yeah. And some people are saying that, I mean, there are a lot of kind of conflicting opinions on this. Some people are saying that it's a good idea to use Bitcoin Core's wallet because it's the reference implementation and that's what other nodes are seeing and using. Then you kind of know that it doesn't fall out of consensus with other wallets. Like if there's a bug, then everyone is going to have this bug. And then again, other people will say that it's not a great idea to have, bless you, but it's not a good idea. Please don't pass your germs to me.
It's not COVID.
I don't know. Wait, actually cold is bad for I don't know. I need something, I need fire to burn the whatever. I'm moving on. So look. Oh yeah, true. This might work. Great. Okay. So, and other people are saying that it's not a great idea to use the Bitcoin Core wallet, and in fact, it's maybe not a great idea for a Bitcoin Core wallet to exist, and that it's kind of neglected in the Bitcoin Core code base, and it's convoluted, and maybe the wallet should be completely separated. Do you have I guess for your stuff, you're saying you prefer to use the Bitcoin Core thing. Which I guess is kind of what Spectre Wallet is doing, and EPS, as you said.
Yeah, so in 0.21, the rescanning process for addresses was greatly improved, and it doesn't take ages like before, because first time I tried EPS, you had to wait like 2 days before you could use a node wallet, if you have the bit history. And
rescan, yeah.
Yeah, and now the rescan is pretty quick, and also the multiple wallet support changed everything, because before you could have only one wallet and all your addresses were in a single wallet. Now you can have as many as you want. I didn't look yet into the security of that, like if you use 2 different Spectre wallets or 2 different things using Bitcoin Core's wallet, can they see each other's wallets when they ask Bitcoin Core? I don't know. Yeah, it's a very early work in progress. So, but yeah, as you said, like separating the Bitcoin Core wallet into a separate piece of software, modularity never hurts. It's probably a good idea long term.
Well, I don't know if it will ever happen, but maybe it's a good idea. Someone will have to do it. But yeah.
And also another reason to use Bitcoin Core and not Electron, because basically the strongest contenders were Electron or Bitcoin Core. And yeah, Electron, each implementation has some flaws and none of them works like 100% fine. Like Electron X just forked because of going full BSV or something. And now Electron is supporting maintaining their own Electron X, which I didn't try yet. But basically Electron X, as long as it was working, everything was fine, and the day it had an indexing error, it was impossible to recover. You had to just delete all your Bitcoin D and Electron X files and restart syncing everything from the beginning with no guarantee that you will succeed. S is much better.
I'll stop you for a moment.
Yeah.
I'll stop you for a moment. You remember I told you that maybe your audio will get bad? So it happened.
My turn.
Okay, yeah.
Unmuted. Oh yeah.
What are you laughing at?
Can complain.
MZ, stop complaining.
Electron X is fine.
This is bleeding edge technology and things go wrong. It is what it is. Okay, he's back.
It's
Stop.
Microsoft's fault.
It is Microsoft's fault.
Yeah.
Oh wait.
Like, would you recommend this sheet? Okay.
Wait. Okay. Are you French, Ketominer?
I'm French and Polish. Not
French
in
and
that order.
Polish. Do you know that all French Bitcoin developers are using Windows? Are you aware of this? It's a fact. It's a scientific fact.
Well, then I'm not French.
Okay. Okay, just wanted to make it, because there is a movement. There's a movement of French Bitcoiners who use Windows. It's a very well-known thing. But I'll go back to our topic. So,
well, they also like to use weird languages like .NET and
yes,
and Scala. So
Scala too, but Scala isn't Microsoft, I think. I don't know.
Scala is like some language built on top of the GVM, and that's what Eclair is using.
Right. Yeah, that's weird too. And now they can't do iOS because of that. Sad. Anyways, so back to Nodl. You mentioned using Dojo as a backend. I think there's also a Dojo edition of the Nodl. Is that like what's different there, or is it a design thing?
Yeah, it's two things. It's obviously a design thing because it's big red and it has a samurai logo on top. But it also has redundant storage. We have two SSDs for data storage, which are mirrored, so if one goes wrong, you can still recover your data. And it also comes with included kill switch and Samurai premium support, which is optional, which both are optional on the Nodl 1, which is the black box.
Right, gotcha. So design and support, yeah, that makes sense. So, but it's mostly the same software, right? Mostly the same.
Yeah, the software is identical.
Okay. Okay, gotcha. Fair enough.
By the way, we are in a small group today. You can actually add an external SSD to the Nodl 1 and turn on the redundant storage if you want.
Aha. That's a nice secret to know. That's good. I'll remember that. Maybe I can sell this information. Let's see. I'll try. So I think the other product you have is the Nodl Cloud. You mentioned that before. So what's that all about?
So Nodl Cloud is basically virtual machines with the same software as the Nodl box. What is important here is that this software is running on server we own and on a network we own. So it's not running on Azure, AWS, or any even dedicated server provider. It's our hardware and our network 100%.
So it's yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, there are still some trade-offs because obviously since it's a virtual machine, we as administrators of the physical boxes have some access to your data. But it's still less than trusting the thousands of Amazon employees.
Yeah, right. Well, some people will say that it's better to trust Amazon because, everyone trusts Amazon and they have, systems in place and processes in place to protect your data. So it's kind of, you're kind of saying, okay, if you're already trusting the Nodl team, and they can run the node for you. I'm guessing this is mostly for merchants, probably, right? What is this for?
Yeah, well, it's for two types of people. First one, obviously, is online merchants which don't want to have their node in their premises and expose them on the internet. And second one is people who don't have a physical place to host their full node. We talk about digital nomads and people who are moving around in the world. They don't necessarily have a fixed place where they can have their node plugged in 24/7. And about this access to your data, it's something we are working on because on some of the latest AMD processors, we can enable memory encryption, which is per VM and managed by the hardware itself. And actually this prevents any access from outside the virtual machine to the contents of the memory. So currently it's very expensive hardware, so we don't have it yet, but it's definitely something we are considering for near future.
Right. So, I mean, I guess that it begs the question, which is, I guess the obvious question is like, why not go with a complete payment processing solution like, I don't know, the OpenNode and a bunch of other like just payment processors that, they take care of everything for you. They just give you a checkout button and whatever, and they manage it on a higher level. But for merchants, usually that's what they want, right? They would just want to sell their products, and they get a similar level of trust.
Well, with OpenNode, you pay fees on the transaction amount. If you just run your Nodl cloud with BTC Pay server, you only pay a fixed fee per month, even if you're processing millions of dollars of transactions. So I think that's a big start. And second, it goes straight to your hardware wallet if you're using one for on-chain payments, so you don't have to trust anyone with your money. Even if we go out of business or the instance breaks or there is any issue, your money is still on your hardware wallet at the end of the day. So there is the Lightning part which might be at risk, but with auto loop and if you set it to auto loop out into your hardware wallet as well, basically the only funds at risk on your node are the hot channels.
Right. And also, I mean, if I want to be picky, if I want to nitpick, then the thing you could do to, if the infrastructure is compromised, let's say, then the attacker could change the addresses that you're going to deposit to, right? Like that you're going to send money to. So if you're a merchant, you're going to have this checkout window, and it's going to show an address. And then if the Nodl infrastructure is compromised somehow, then the attacker could replace the address that is shown to customers. And then even if you have the hardware wallet, as a merchant,
yeah, but if you think about it, this attacker would probably be more interested in compromising OpenNode, which processes transactions for multiple merchants, than one particular Nodl Cloud instance, because they're all independent from each other. So they wouldn't have to compromise like one server to access all our customers. They would have to compromise them one by one.
Right. Right. So what does it look like? So is it for if I go and get a Nodl cloud account? Is it like do I get an interface just like the Nodl and then I customize it?
You get the exact same interface as on the Nodl. There will be some extra layer of security / reverse proxy added soon, because by default it gives a little too much information. I mean, it's just some basic information like block rate and stuff. There is nothing allowing anyone to do anything. But yeah, you don't necessarily want people to know that it is a full node at all. So we'll just add like or a reverse proxy with authentication or like a VPN access for some more administrative features. We are adding 2FA using YubiKeys for those who have one. We did something very special on the network architecture of the service. We actually separate the network from the compute data centers. So it's not impossible, but it's hard to guess the actual physical location of where the service is running just based on the IP address, because the latency is not what you would expect. And we have like this obfuscation network layer on top of the service.
Gotcha. Is my audio okay right now? Because some people are complaining.
It's a little breaking up, but it's not totally bad.
Not totally. Okay, I'll do the thing again. I'll do it again. This is weird. I don't understand why this is happening. It used to not happen. But I'll be back in a second. Sorry about this.
And he's gone.
Oké, weer papa. Even.
Is dat bij ook dat je het audio minder goed is als je je mute-button afzet, of dat is hetzelfde?
Nee, dat is hetzelfde bij mij.
That was fast.
It's kind of it's a vulnerability in the show, because if people want me to shut up, they can just tell me that my audio is bad, and then I'll leave. So maybe I should do something about that. Okay, so I get what you're saying. So it's kind of the same UI, but you get to I guess a few more features. And is it already like available? Do you already
we are very slowly rolling it out because we want to make sure that everything works fine before we get thousands of people on it. But yeah, we are finishing deploying first instances this week. It's slow and painful as expected, but it's happening.
So I
don't know
if you
Black Friday discount code as well. If you dig in the internet, you will find a Black Friday discount code.
That's good. I'm trying not to buy anything on Black Friday. I know it's counterintuitive, I know. But last year I spent too much money on Black Friday, so I'm trying not to buy anything. Anyways, so do you have like, I don't know if you want to exactly. I don't know if you want to share this, but do you know like what kind of customers are interested in the cloud solution? Like, are we talking like small merchants who are selling like t-shirts, or like, I don't know, just do you have any idea of what kind of people want to use it? Or
I have an idea about two of them. I don't know about the others. We have like a short list of people who are interested in being onboarded first. One is some media / blog type of operation who will be using it for donations and selling premium content. And one is some art project.
Right. Yeah, I'm just curious, like I'm curious about the whole node situation is something that I know I kind of like talking about and nerding out about. and like what kind of people, well, one, what kind of people want this, and two, what kind of people need this. Just running nodes in general, because we have our little group and our little community where people are very excited about nodes and so on. But I suspect, I don't know if you view it the same, but I suspect that in the larger Bitcoin community, people just don't really care.
Yeah, I think many people don't care, and it's pretty controversial actually, because as many people probably argue that it's easy to run it in a bad way. So better rely on some external services than run it yourself. And on the other side, if you're using any kind of hardware wallet and the software backend which is provided with it, you are open to the government asking that company to provide all the IP addresses and Bitcoin addresses of the users. So yeah, I guess it's maybe a little early still, but it's probably a good time to start caring about not leaving traces.
Yeah, I think the privacy part is the one that is maybe the most relevant to like normal people, because I mean the whole validating your incoming transaction thing, especially if you're not a high volume merchant and you're just receiving coins every few months or something like that, then I mean you'd have to be pretty paranoid, I would say, to think that your exchange is going to lie to you or whatever. It's just, obviously it's possible, and I get the defensive approach that says, well, you don't know, so why not validate everything? And I mean, I agree. For me, it's easy to set it up, so it's easy for me to validate everything, and that's what I do. But for someone who it's not easy for, then I mean, I know what the reason is, that it's just difficult for them to do it. They have to, first of all, they need to understand. So let's say I get the Nodl box, right? So I buy it, I connect it to, let's say I recommended to a friend that they should get a Nodl. So they buy it and they connect it to the wall and they connect it to the router and whatever. And now what? So, they get to the UI interface that allows them to run different services. They still need to know why, what the services do, why they even are running them, which ones they need. It is much easier now than it used to be. It's kind of,
we really suck at documentation still. It's a big work in progress, and we are putting the product before the documentation, and maybe that's a mistake. But yeah, we don't have a clear documentation. If I have wallet A and I want to connect it, just follow these 5 steps, and I think this is where we should go. On the other side, we have a very, very active Telegram group, and most of our users are joining and just asking open questions, and usually it's another user who replies. We take over when there is an actual technical issue to fix, but really most of the time it's just another user who says, yeah, I did that and it worked, and that's it. Oh, your sound is gone again.
And now?
It's back.
Now? It's back? Okay. Smileys everywhere, yes. I don't get it. I think because I'm muting and unmuting myself, and it looks like sometimes when I'm unmuting myself, I don't know. I don't understand. Microsoft, are you listening? Can you please fix this? Thank you. Okay. I don't think they're listening. So I'm not saying, by the way, this is a Nodl thing, right? I think it's relevant to all of the full node product offerings. It's just kind of, I did see that there's a pretty active community around Nodl, which is really cool. But again, if you're thinking of just someone who's completely out of this niche and out of this group, and just a friend told him that running a full node is important. In my opinion, the most important reason is for privacy. Then it's really going to be hard. Like it's true that documentation exists, but most people are not used to reading documentation, right? Like if you think about the Coinbase app, for example, like Coinbase doesn't expect you to read documentation to use Coinbase. You download the app and it tells you what to do, and it walks you through the steps. And it's like, there are people who are paid a lot of money just to make sure that when someone downloads the app, they know exactly what to do and they're not confused. Even if as many of them are gonna, buying Bitcoin or whatever for the first time and never tried it before, then they're trying to guide the user through this without sending them to read documentation and so on, because then, you're just gonna lose people along the way if you do that. And with full nodes, with Bitcoin nodes, I think we're just not there yet. I'm not trying to say that, that Nodl isn't doing a good job. I think that Nodl and other products like Nodl are made much easier than it was before, right? Because before you really had to understand all the packages and install them or whatever. And with Nodl, it's much easier now. It's definitely an advancement. But if you're a newbie, then I think for most people, it's just going to scare them off, because you're going to say, okay, read the documentation. Who reads documentations? People are not even used to read documentations if they're not like techies like us, right?
Yeah. So, we recently we see a new category of users coming actually, which is okay, I plugged it in and what should I do now? And especially in Lightning, it's like, yeah, I have Lightning, now I need channels. What do I do? Who should I connect to? Okay, how do I answer that? Before, the answer was pretty easy. Like, if you want inbound, go to LNBig, but LNBig stopped providing free inbound. So yeah, it's like, it's a tricky question, actually. We were planning on providing inbound channels at some point, but with the fees spiking, it doesn't sound like a good idea anymore, especially for someone who will not actually use this channel. Maybe the Bitrefil model where you pay for your inbound channels is the good one, I don't know. There was a lot of velocity at some point where you could just shout on Twitter, this is my node's address, please open channels with me. But I don't see this happening anymore.
Yeah, that's true. I think there are a few of them that you can buy liquidity from, and there's also liquidity Lightning pool thing that started recently. That
might maybe solve the problem
at some point. Like right now, it's not user friendly at all, but maybe at some point it will be. I mean, people will be able to use this to give an easier front end. I was just trying, a few Lightning wallets this week. The new ones like Phoenix and Breeze. They're very, they're like managed by the app. You don't involve the user in details like channels. They do everything for the user, and that's it's a great experience. There are some problems there because they have to pay for the channels, and what happens is that they pay for opening the channels. But let's say eventually they could find a way to charge for that, probably. So it's a good experience, but it requires to have a very specific, app that does a very specific thing. So if you want to do this on a node, then you have to have like some version of that is kind of oriented to a very specific thing, to get this user experience where the user doesn't have to know what's happening. Like, I guess what I'm trying to say is, right now with Bitcoin nodes, if you want to get the benefits of using a Bitcoin node, you have to understand what a Bitcoin node is, and you have to set it up correctly. You have to, understand how the parts fit in. It's not something that can be transparent to you. Like, you can't download an app on your phone and be done with it. I think you need a bit more than that. Oops, I think your audio is very bad now. Yeah.
Is it better now?
It's better now, yes. It's better
okay,
now.
so the mute and mute works.
Yeah. Okay.
I think with a significant investment in developer time, we could probably, and that's probably some direction we should be going as well, is like to have this easy setup mobile app. Like even with the Oculus Quest, like first thing you have to do is to pair it with your phone and actually use the app to do the setup. And yeah, maybe that's something we should be going to with Nodl. We were actually thinking about doing something like this for the hosted nodes, like you could rent the hosted node from within the wallet app, like Samurai or Zap or others. Yeah, might still happen at some point.
I just recently set up for someone a new internet router, right? So I remember that it used to be that you would buy the box and then you would pull out of the box like a manual probably, or they would send you to download the PDF of the manual from the internet or something, and then they would tell you, okay, you need to go to this address on your browser, on your laptop, and maybe to get there you need to connect with a cable to the router, and there's this entire thing, and then you have this very weird UI interface on your web browser to set it up, and you need to choose the right settings and whatever. And now you just, pretty much for all of the new routers, you just download an app for your phone. Your phone already has a cellular internet connection. You download it up, you push a few buttons, and it's done. You choose the password, and it pairs automatically, and you're done. And it chooses all the best practices for you and sets everything up. And I mean, again, for people like us, it's easy. Like setting up a router is easy, right? Because we know how it works. We know what the router is supposed to do. We know exactly what settings we like, and we know what we want it to do. So it's easy for us. We don't need the app. But for most people, like if they don't have the app, they need someone to help them do it because they can't do it alone. So I think that this kind of setup where the user doesn't need to read the documentation, because just reading a documentation for most people is just scary. So if we get to that point, and I guess we're getting there, I guess it's much better now, and products like Nodl make it much better than it used to be.
Yeah, I remember some early commercial full nodes. I won't name anyone, but you were getting like the device which was basically a small mini PC, and it was just coming with an installed Linux and Bitcoin Core on it. And if you wanted to upgrade it, you could just do it manually through the command line. There was like absolutely no UI. It was just
yeah.
We are far from that. We are not yet at the Apple level of out-of-box experience, but yeah, incrementally, slowly, maybe in 5-10 years we'll.
Okay, 5 to 10 years. Okay, I'm getting older. I mean, eventually, fine. I'll let my kids have the better nodes, I guess. It is what it is. Yeah, I think what what I'm gonna do right now is I'm going to open this to question from the audience, because maybe people have questions. I'm still considering if I should do it in the middle of the talk or at the end. Anyways, if someone wants to ask a question, you're going to see a button pop up that says raise hand. It's in the right bottom corner of your screen, so you can click that, and then I'll be able to let you ask questions. And let's see, let's begin with MZ. MZ, go ahead.
Hello, can you hear me?
Hey.
Yes.
Okay. Hi. I have a little bit of a critical question, because when I'm hearing cloud, I'm always thinking, oh, it's somebody else is running your stuff. And my first question would be, if it's running on your cloud, the users also have like access via SSH and root access and can do anything on that box?
Yes, you have root SSH access to the instance. And you can change the disk encryption keys if you want. You can really do exactly the same as you would be doing on the physical box.
Yeah. So there are many of this instances running on one physical server. So I'm a little bit concerned that there will be some problem with the software, like with the hypervisor software, and you can go from one instance to another instance. So that something can come up. So you're thinking about a premium model where you really have your separate box running or something like that?
Well, two things. First one, the last VM escape vulnerability is pretty old, and we didn't hear yet about new ones coming, but of course it can always come. And basically why it's becoming harder and harder is that the virtualization is more and more made in hardware and not in software. And with the AMD EPYC processors, there is also memory encryption, which is done per virtual machine by the CPU, and the hypervisor doesn't have access to the keys of this encryption. So yeah, it's becoming increasingly harder because of being handled on the hardware level. But yeah, of course, it can still happen, and there will be 0 days, and that's a fact. And yes, we are working on a solution to provide actually physical instances to users. There is a density problem, and like we would love to make it on ARM-based processors, like the box. But on the other side, we're working on the box based on x86 64. So yeah, we need to find a way like not too expensive to manufacture and allowing us to put the significant amount of servers in a one box.
Yeah. Thanks.
So
for the
the first stage is we will be doing very small ARM-based servers which are not able to run a full node, but they will be able, for example, to run like a watchtower or a signing device. Like you would be able actually to send us your cold card HSM, and we will give you a dedicated server to which it will be connected and hosted in our data center.
Oh, awesome. Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, MZ. I'll throw... Yeah, I hit him. Did you see that? I hit him straight in the head, straight in the face. Okay, so guys, if you have a question to ask, again, it's the bottom right of the screen. There's a button that says raise hand, and you can click it. The next question goes to Waxwing. And Waxwing, before you begin, I'll just let you know, the reason I always mute you when you finish asking is because your speakers are kind of loud, and then we hear feedback. So if you want to not be muted, you can lower your volume, but you don't have to. You can ask and then I'll mute you, whatever you want. Go ahead.
I haven't got a button to press. What is he doing? There's no button here.
No, I hear you. We hear you.
Oh, sorry. I thought you can. Oh, I must have pressed it. Okay, sorry about that. I take your point. Thank you. So my question, you mentioned I thought an interesting thing you said was that there was a new class of users you were noticing that were basically coming along and saying, what do I do now? Like they've got Lightning, they've got the Nodl, they've got everything set up. What do I do now? And their problem was that they couldn't easily get, for example, inbound liquidity. And as somebody who's recently encountered the same flow, I mean, I've set up Lightning many times, but more recently I set it up on a separate device and a whole thing. And I thought, how do I get inbound liquidity? And immediately the answer that came to me was Bitrefill, in the sense that I could buy inbound liquidity from them, and they would essentially rent it out to me. Now, you could look at this as obviously a primitive version of what we hope will come with a Lightning loop, where there's a full Lightning pool, where there's a full kind of market, for liquidity and so on. But just a retailer selling liquidity. I mean, why don't you, as an organization, just sell inbound liquidity to these people that come along saying, how do I get liquidity? Just sell it to them. What's the suggestion?
Yeah, we were thinking about it, but actually we don't have liquidity ourselves now, so...
Well,
it's pretty.
Buy it from Refill.
People are saying like you shouldn't transact with your Bitcoin, or you shouldn't spend your Bitcoin. The truth is, like, we receive Bitcoin from our customers, and we have to pay our suppliers in fiat. and we don't have any funding or VCs or stuff, at least yet. So yeah, we basically spend 100% of what we get.
Yeah. So resell it perhaps then. Yeah, as other people are suggesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I guess reselling is an option, right? Because then, you can cut a deal with Bitrefill or whoever. Don't wanna, or I can sell you liquidity. I will happily sell you liquidity. Just tell me how much you need. I'll find it. I'll find it. Okay. So thanks for the question, Waxwing, and I think that's all the questions we have. I actually had another one, but now I forgot what it was. So I'll try to remember it, and then I'll ask you on VR chat, because you're coming to VR chat, right?
Yeah, maybe not very long, but I will definitely come.
Yes, you're getting a headache, the VR headache.
Yeah, I have to say it's actually pretty heavy on the head.
Did you get the deluxe or elite strap or whatever they call it?
No, I didn't know that's a thing. So.
Oh yeah, so I did get it because I apparently I like giving money to Facebook, so I did get it, and it's I know it's not it's better to adjust to balance, I guess, the weight, because they put a battery on the back, and then the weight is on both sides and not just in front, so it's nice. Anyways, so thank you for joining us. I'll try to remember the question by the time we start on VR chat. In case you guys don't know, if it's your first time, then what we do after every meetup, we go to VR chat, which is another VR app. There are custom worlds there and custom avatars. It's just fun. It's kind of like going out for a drink after a meetup in the real world. So I invite all of you to come. It's a lot of fun, and I'll post the details for that on the Telegram channel in about 15 minutes. So you can take a break until then. And yeah, that's it. We're doing this every week. So if you enjoyed this, then join us next week too. You can go to recklessvr.com and sign up, or follow RecklessVR on Twitter, or join RecklessVR on Telegram, and you'll get invites every weekend. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Ketominer. This was awesome.
Thank you for having me. It was very cool.
Yes, and I'll see you all soon.
Hello, everybody.
Hallo.
Fake news beter me geluid.
That's fun.
Ja?
Dus dat lag aan die AirPods dat ik gebruikte.
Oh yeah.
Where's the bar,
We are back.
Where's the bar?
Now we stay here
You might want
for
to turn off the
I don't know, 10, 15 minutes or
Yeah.
whatever, and then we all move to VR.
How about
I
you,
don't think you can go
how's
there with the
how's
PC.
your? Are you still an employee?
Okay, no
or?
I can say
That's a pity.
lucky looking
I
person.
actually have
Paper avatar.
I have a drink in front of me, but it's pretty risky with the VR headset.
Oh, I got
Yeah.
I just wanted
to
breaking
very
up.
severe break